Today, I'd like to talk to you about trouble is temporary. And today, in the church, it's Palm Sunday. And if you've been to church today, you may have received your Palm Cross. I'm going to read to you today the reading for Palm Sunday. As they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethphage on the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Hey, go to the village ahead of you, and at once you'll find a donkey tied there, with her colt by her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, tell him that the Lord needs them, and he will send them right away." This took place to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet. "Say to the daughter of Zion, see, your king comes to you, gentle and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." The disciples went and did as Jesus had instructed them. They brought the donkey and the colt, placed their cloaks on them, and Jesus sat on them. A very large crowd spread their cloaks on the road, while others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. The crowds that went ahead of him and those that followed him shouted, "Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest." When Jesus entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred and asked, "Who is this?" The crowds answered, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth in Galilee." This is the word of the Lord. So I'd like to talk to you about trouble is temporary. And in fact, actually in life, we've got to sometimes go through closed doors, rejections and hard times before we get to our open doors. And if we stay where we are, sometimes we just get stagnant. So God keeps on telling us to keep on going forward. You know, it's so typical, isn't it? When we have a really good time, we just want to stay there. But God is always telling us to keep going on the move. In this passage here today, for instance, we see of Jesus having an amazing time where everyone is cutting down branches from palm trees, putting coats on the floor, and everyone's heralding him a king. But as we know, in 5 days' time, Jesus goes to the cross. You know, when he's going towards the cross, I wonder what he was thinking. He knew that he had to go there because the resurrection was coming. So it is for us. Troubles are temporary. And as it says in the Bible elsewhere, that it's not wise to say, why were the olden days better than these? We've got to keep on going forward through the pains to the resurrections on the other side. You know, I'll just give you this as an example before we start. I recently was on a Thorpe Park. I say recently, October time. I remember getting on the ride, and the ride was so scary. I knew it was temporary. I knew everything was in control, but still I was afraid. And when it ended, I went, "Oh, that was perfectly fine." But while I was on it, I felt, "Oh my goodness, I wish I didn't get on this. I wish I went to the olden days where I was just sitting there having a nice cup of tea." But when you go out the other side, you think, "Wow, what a story to have." Trouble is temporary, but it's for a purpose. So I just want to contrast the reading we had today with Jesus' journey to the cross and inevitably to his resurrection. You see, on the way to the cross, Jesus, when he went into Jerusalem on the Palm Sunday, everyone was heralding him a king. Everyone was saying, "Jesus, Jesus, you are the king. Yeah, King Jesus." But Jesus, 5 days later, had to go in front of Pilate and be questioned. "Are you really a king? Who are you? Who are you? You're nothing to me." And Jesus may have, as I just mentioned, may have thought, "Hey, a minute ago, everybody was saying I was a king, but now no one knows who I am. In fact, everyone is ridiculing me and questioning me as a fraud." When we're going through our troubles, we've got to be like Jesus and switch the channel. Switch the channel over to a channel that actually says, "No, I know who I am. I know God is with me. I know that I'm loved. I'm here for a purpose. I'm secure. I'm significant. And there is a purpose for me." When we're going through the troubles, we may go through it like with Jesus and may experience at times a sense of, people are questioning me. questioning what I'm doing, questioning my significance. But we remember the past and remember, more importantly, the future, that God is going to take us through this and make us better. Jesus in front of Pilate knew that he was not just a king on a Palm Sunday, but he was the King of Kings, the Son of God. So switch the channel. The next thing I just want to contrast and remember that our troubles are temporary is the sense that Jesus had this amazing multicoloured carpet being put down in front of him on Palm Sunday. Imagine the Queen coming to wherever you live. You would put out the best carpet. You would make everything look fantastic. And that's what they did in an instant. They just spontaneously put their coats down. But 5 days later, Jesus is in second place to Barabbas, the insurrectionist, the one who murdered a centurion, and people wanted him rather than this person of peace. Our troubles are temporary. In fact, Jesus was laughed at in front of this crowd. A murderer is better than Jesus. But he would have remembered Jesus, that troubles are temporary. Like Job, who may have had his problems for about 9 months or so. He knew that he had to hang in there and knew that he could get through this if he just kept trusting in God. Yes, we can call out to God and cry to God, but God says, don't give up on me. I'm going to get you through this. And this trouble is not going to beat you. You're better than this trouble. Your destiny is much more in control than you think. Know that God says to you, hold on there. Trouble is temporary. You see, the crowds put the multicolored carpet out on Palm Sunday. And yes, in the middle, we see them running away. And remember, fame is fleeting. But one day, we all shall say that he is the one. We will look to him for salvation, like many have done for 2,000 years. In heaven, we shall see him in his true state. The true person, the true royal person that deserves all of our attention. The first place in our lives. Another contrast in reminding us that trouble is temporary is of the palm branches. The palm branches that were heralded up in the sky. They were waving them like you would see in a victory parade. And yet these same crowds took Jesus to the cross. He was crucified for us. You know, troubles are tough at times. And at one point, things seem to be going well. Maybe like the weather we've had. It's been beautiful, and then it's changed. But Jesus knew that this waving of the branches was a foreshadow of what is to come. Yes, you may have overcome an addiction. Yes, you may have got through health problems, and you may have come across other ones along the way. But God is saying, remember the past, how I was with you then. Remember that you're in a trouble now. Don't run away from it. Embrace it with me, and I'm going to get you out the other side. Yes, the crowds said, you're the king, with the palm branches. And yes, then 5 days later, the crowd said, crucify him. But in the end, they would bow the knee and say, yes, you are the one who we absolutely adore. You know, we went through something called Earth Hour recently. It basically is an hour where we turn out all the lights, all devices, and just live in the silence of the darkness. The Sainsbury's man came in that hour to explain to him, we're doing something called Earth Hour. But while we were sitting in that darkness, we realised actually we could talk to one another. We realised so many benefits of being in this uncomfortable position. When we're going through tough times, like the night season of the soul, yes, the trouble is hard. Yes, the trouble is temporary, but God is teaching us to trust him more and more. He is the one who healed the sick, remember. Yes, he got rejected, but he is the one who brings the rejection, those in a dark place, back home. Trouble is temporary. You know, in this story, we heard of Jesus coming on a donkey. And he was lifted up properly. He was lifted up onto a donkey. But 5 days later, he was lifted onto the cross. Friends, when we're going through our troubles, it may feel at one point things are going really well. And the next point it feels like God has left us. And like Jesus, we may say, God, God, why have you forsaken me? But we know deep in our hearts he hasn't. We know he's going to be with us. We know that he loves us closer than our shadow. And like Joseph in the scriptures, when things have gone for our harm, God will bend for our good. Yes, Jesus was lifted onto a donkey, then onto the cross. But he'll come back victorious, as it says in Revelation, on that white horse, that stallion with victory, with the sense of healing and wholeness, the sense of your dignity being restored and your eternal life certified and assured. Friends, troubles are temporary. Let's not give up in the midst of what we're going through. And I just want to end really with this, is that Jesus was called the Son of David, the Messiah, the one to come. And yet they buried him 5 or 6 days later. You may feel that your troubles are burying you, but like Jesus being buried, you're really planted. And like when you're planted, you're going to be resurrected from your troubles, better, stronger, and more able. When Jesus was put into that tomb on Good Friday, it was only until Easter Sunday where we were mourning the utter loss, the devastation of Jesus' death. Because when he came back to life again, we forgot the problems. In fact, we go back over them to marvel at what's going to come. When you've gone through the trouble that you've gone through, like when I went through my cancer, when my father died, or when we've gone through completely this coronavirus, we will look the other side and we'll rejoice at how much God has changed us and made us better. I'll end with this story here. There was a friend of mine who was a missionary, and he went to India, and he was on a plane, and the first 2 or 3 hours was fine. But then the final few, right to the middle of it, about 10-15 minutes, there was great turbulence. There was horrific worry. In fact, he thought the plane was going to die. It nosedived and all the luggage fell out and everything. But in the end, the pilot was able to get stability again, and it was perfect the rest of the journey. That's what our life is like with God, I guess, at times, is that in the middle or at some points in our lives, there's this great turbulence. But God will make everything right in the end. He is the one who went to the cross at the end of the day. He is the one who took that ultimate pain. But we follow him. And on this Palm Sunday, may we remember that when troubles come our way, they're not opportunities for us to walk away and ignore God. They're opportunities to press into him, to trust him like we've never done before, to love him, to care for him. It may be a night season, but you know, when you go through troubles, God is moving stuff around, like at your local supermarket at night time or in the night shift when things have to be sorted out. God is working things out so that he can make your life more spacious for his love. He's making your life more available for his mercy, and so that his grace may work even further through you. Who knows who's watching your life? But I guarantee a lot of people are. And your actions, the way that you walk through these troubles, will just pay so many dividends in the way that people will see the grace of God. Why? Because people are looking for someone who they can trust in, and that is Jesus. May you be an example today of his love. May you, like Jesus, know that God the Father is with you. May you, like Jesus, walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil. And may you, like Jesus, come out the other side, knowing that you were never imprisoned by fear, but you were imprisoned by hope. In Jesus' name, amen.